like starting from the same level. For lower extremity, so the situation is another. It is not symmetric. Anteriorly, it is started from subinguinal and femoral regions, but posteriorly we have gluteal region, and they are located in different levels. So I cannot give now the circular line, which is completely surrounded the lower extremity and make the upper border. That's it. Upper border we describe anteriorly and posteriorly, and it is different from each other. Posterior upper border located higher than anterior upper border. Anterior upper border, it is your inguinal ligament, otherwise inguinal folds. You understand that it is split in lower extremity from the region of the abdomen, yeah? Posteriorly situation another. It is so-called interiliac line, which is connected uppermost points of the iliac crest to each other. Otherwise, we can say the line which is passed from upper point of the iliac crest. Yeah, that's why it is located higher. It is located higher than the anterior superior point. That's why remember, please, from backside it is imaginary line between two crests. From in front it is the abdominal line, which is passed through from up to down and laterally to the medial. And now about the regions which we have anteriorly and posteriorly. From anterior, let's start. Behind of your inguinal ligaments, there are small regions which I will introduce you, which is called subinguinal region. It's located between inguinal ligament and between the pelvic bones. If I will put the pen instead of the ligament, this narrowed space, which is now between them, it will be subinguinal space. Next region which we will have anteriorly, it is the femoral region. Below it we have the knee region, then we have leg region, then we have ankle joint region, and finally foot, dorsal foot. In the back situation is another. We have the from up to down, the gluteal region, now posterior femoral region. By the way, if you will compare the size of anterior and posterior femoral region, like it's shown in the picture, you can see that anterior is bigger. Posterior femoral region is smaller. But starting from knee region, you can see we come to the circular borders. Anterior and posterior knee regions, anterior posterior leg regions, anterior posterior ankle joint regions, anterior posterior foot regions, they symmetrically bordered by the circular lines. The starting from knee, we come to the equal anterior and posterior regions of the lower extremity. Above the knee, borders is not equal. Borders is asymmetrical. This is division and the borders. Now let's come to exactly first region, which I want to introduce for you. That is the gluteal region. Again, as usually, we start from the borders. Yeah? From upwards, it is the upper margin of iliac crest. From down, it is so-called gluteal fold. That is the natural skin fold, which is splitting your gluteal region from the femoral region. From the medially, it is so-called intergluteal fold. Otherwise, we call it natal cleft. And from laterally, imaginary line, which is starting from your anterior superior iliac spine, and which is coming to the trochanter major, yeah, which is located in epiphyse of your femoral bone. Yeah, you remember above we have major, below we have minor, between them anteriorly we have crest, posteriorly we have line, intertrochanteric crest and line. That's it. It is greatly palpated. So you palpated your trochanter major, you palpated your anterior superior spine, and between them you make the line. You can say why this line is necessary. Simply, it is bordered the femoral region from the gluteal region. In front of this line, we have femoral region. Behind of this line, you have gluteal region. That is about borders. Let's say you can see approximately quadriangular region. Now let's start to speak about layers. Skin is very thick. It has the elastic fibers, but it is very thick. Let's say the movement of the skin in this region is not so high. The skin near the natal cleft contains huge amount of the sweat and sebaceous glands. In upper portion near the sacral bone, we have usually the hair triangle with the tip which is looked to down and base which is looked to upwards. By the way, as you remember from anatomy, it is much more developed for the mongoloid race. But anyhow, if here we have all these skin elements, we can find all skin inflammations, yeah, which we displayed before. Carbuncles, baruncles, yeah, hidradenitis, atheromas, that's everything. Subcutaneous fatty tissue is greatly developed in this region. That is, there are some reserve fat places of the human body. By the way, much more better it is developed for the females than for the males. For the males, fat accumulation mainly located in belly region. For females, it is the hips, it is the gluteal regions. They say, again, you can see here some dimorphism, yeah? Different
changes in
localization of some problems for the different genders. Very well. Subcutaneous fatty tissue by superficial tissue divided into two layers. Superficial and deep. By the way, superficial layer, it is divided by the septus into 7 pockets. So we can say it is pocketar. And that is one of the meanings why the skin is not so movable in this region, because there are septus, which is come from superficial tissue, and which is fused with the skin and make it stronger and thicker in general. Deep layer, vice versa, have the layering structure. It called massa adiposa lumboglutealis. As you remember, it is connected with the gluteal region. Yeah, that's it. We can see passage of the liquid pathological processes from up to down or from down to up, anyhow connected with the location of the problem. Yeah. Inside of the fatty tissue, we have superficial vessels and nerves. Superficial vessels, as you can see, superficial nerves, split it into 3 groups. Yeah, it is gluteus superior, gluteus media, and gluteus inferior. Gluteus, it is the same gluteus, but in the and that's it. This is the gluteal, otherwise gluteal nerve. You must know origin of the superior gluteal nerve. It is from dorsal branches of the lumbar nerves. Middle one, it is come from the sacral plexus. Lower one, it is the branches of nervus cutaneus femoralis posterior, which is innervating your posterior surface of the skin, and which is from sacral plexus. That's I remember. There's lumbar structure and 2 structures, sacral structures. One is exact, and second is come from the branch of the sacral plexus. Huge innervational zone. Here we have very many receptors, especially near the natal gland. We have the venous network also. The veins, which is located here, superficial veins, partly drain into the superior gluteal, partly drain into inferior gluteal venous system, but no any arteries. In subcutaneous fatty tissue of extremities and upper and lower, as you remember, we have only venous system. We don't have the arteries. Layer number 4, it is the proper fascia. Proper fascia fused with the bones. Some proper fascia from upwards fused with the iliac crest. Medially it is fused with the sacral bone, and inferiorly it is fused with the level of the trochanter major, and together with 2 tendons, it is tendons of gluteus maximus and tendon of musculus tensor fasciae latae, which we will study in the lower extremity. It forms the aponeurotical structure, you can see, which we call
white tissue.
Sorry?
White tissue.
White, yeah, aponeurosis usually we draw by white, we color by white. We call it tractus iliotibialis. Why iliotibialis? Because it starts from the iliac bone anterior superior iliac spine, and it is fused with tuberositas tibia. This is muscular tendinous structure. As I say, 2 tendons of 2 muscles. It is gluteus maximus and tensor fasciae latae, and proper fascia including inside of it for what? For the compression of the proper fascia, which we call fasciae latae in the lower extremity. That is necessary for venous drainage. You understand that the venous drainage of the lower extremity, it is problematical situation because it is all against the gravity force. That's why we have semilunar valves inside of the veins, and also we have the compressional effect. Especially it is actual for superficial veins, because deep veins can be pressed by the muscles, superficial no. Under of this fascia, we have the muscular layers, muscles of the gluteal region represented by 3 layers, superficial, middle, and deep. Superficial layer, it is just one muscle, which you know from anatomy, it is musculus gluteus maximus. Again, origin, iliac crest, origin, it is sacral bone, inserted into the trochanter major, and from trochanter major, part of the tendons continues to down, and as I say, they involve inflammation on your tractus iliotibialis. It is completely covered by the proper fascia. Proper fascia from the capsule for musculus gluteus maximus but not for another layer of the muscles. So if I will be first layer, you will be second layer, I will be covered completely, you will be covered only from backside by the proper tissue. Then I remove the first muscular layer, you can see loose connective tissue, which is located between first and second muscular layers, with huge amount of the vessels and nerves, which I will show for you a little after. But primary, you see 6 muscles, which is located in second muscular layer. From up to down, you can see gluteus medius, which is located under the gluteus maximus. Below it, you can see musculus piriformis. Musculus piriformis, it is very important muscle. Now look please here, by my 2 fingers, I modulated 2 ligaments, which we discussed last time, yeah? It is the sacrospinal one, upper my finger, and sacrotuberal one, lower my finger. Between these ligaments and the bones, you can see 2 apertures, ischiadicus major and ischiadicus minor. Your piriformis muscle exactly located behind of ischiadicus major aperture, cover it, and it's split into 2 apertures, suprapiriformis and infrapiriformis. By this aperture, vessels and nerves from the pelvis become to the gluteal region as my 2 fingers. Below it, we have twins muscle. We call it gemellus superior, gemellus inferior, 2 small muscles. And between them, you can see the tendon of the obturatorius internus muscle. Obturatorius internus and externus muscles originated from obturatorius membrane, which is covered foramen obturatorium. From anterior surface, external is originated from posterior internal. But in gluteal region, we have little bit paradoxal situation. Internal located in second layer, external located in third layer, because it's located much more anteriorly. But we call these muscles not from backside, but from in front. That's a deeper muscle, we call external. More superficial muscle, we call internal. You understand me or not? Very well. Finally, if you will remove this, and finally, last 6 muscle, it is the quadratus femoris muscle, yeah, which is located in the lowest position. And if you will remove the last layer, second layer, you will see the last layer, 2 muscles. From upwards, we have the gluteus minimus. From downwards, we have obturatorius externus. That's it. Finally, you can find that 6, 1 and 2, 1, 6 and 2. Let's say 9 muscles. 1 in first layer, 6 in second layer, and 2 in the last layer. Now let's come to this loose connective tissue, which we have between first and second muscular layers. Inside of it, we have the vessels and we have the nerves. Now attract your attention into the suprapiriformis aperture. You can see neurovascular bundle, which is located here, which we call superior gluteal neurovascular bundle. It contains arteria, vena, nervus, gluteus superior. Origin of these structures is very simple. Artery comes from internal iliac, vein is draining to internal iliac, nerve is branch of the nerve is originated from the sacral plexus. Generally, remember, please, all the nerves which is located in posterior surface will be from sacral plexus. All the nerves which is located in anterior surface up to the knee region will be from lumbar plexus. Below knee region, situation will be changed because nervus ischiadicus will be divided into the branches, which is the biggest branch of the sacral plexus, yeah, and will come out from in front and from behind. Generally, below knee region, ischiadicus is innervated everything, except nervus saphenus, yeah, which is the longest branch of the nervus femoralis. That's I remember, please, it is the branches of the plexus sacralis. About the meaning of them, the muscles supplied by gluteus maximus, mainly it gives the branches to the first layer, but also gives the branches to the second layer. Nerve also, it is mainly the muscular nerve. It is made the innervation of the muscles, motor innervation of the muscles, and vein is drained the venous blood primarily from gluteus maximus into the internal iliac. That's it. This is the origin and this is the function of the structures. If you will look to the infrapiriformis aperture, you will see the situation and other much more structural units we have. And the most medial structure we call internal pudental neurovascular bundle. It has arteria vena pudenta interna and nervus pudentus. By the way, origin is absolutely same what I said you before, yeah? Artery from iliaca interna, vein to iliaca interna, nerve it is from sacral plexus. What you must to know about these structures? Again, I modulated these 2 ligaments. sacrospinal ligament and sacrotuberal ligament, something like this. And look what is happened, guys. This nerve from second floor of the pelvis by the infrapiriformis aperture, much more medially, by the way, become to the gluteal region. Then it is passed between these two ligaments by foramen ischiaticum minor inside of so-called Alcock's canal. How Alcock's canal is formed? Sacrotuberal ligament split it into two layers. And between these two layers, this internal pudental neurovascular bundle from here to here again goes to the pelvis region, but now to the third floor of the pelvis, which we call subcutaneous. So from second floor of pelvis, it is become to the gluteal region, but from gluteal region, it is goes to the third floor of the pelvis. That is very simple to remember, guys. That is transitory structure. It doesn't have any function in the gluteal region. It is become to the gluteal region to go by Alcock canal into the third floor of the pelvis. And inside of fossa ischiorictalis, you remember, yeah? Pudenda interna supply rectum, anal portion. It is give the branches to the urogenital structures, to the external genital organs. Samely in nervus pudendus. It is sensory nerve. It is innervated the regions of the anal region, the transitory portion of the skin, and it gives the sensory branches into the genital organ. To the penis, to the clitoris, let's say, it is give the sensory branches. They say, remember, please, this is first neurovascular bundle. It is the internal pudental neurovascular bundle. But nerve, we call just nervus pudendus. We don't say nervus pudendus internus. Little bit laterally to it, we have second neurovascular bundle, which we call inferior gluteal. Absolutely same origin to the previous. Again, nerve, it is come from sacral plexus, artery from internal iliac, vein is draining to internal iliac. Together with superior, it is supplying the muscles. Primary, it is second layer and third layer of the muscles. Also, it gives the descending anastomosis, artery IV, which is in femoral region, make anastomosis with the branches of the femoral artery, about which we will speak after. Laterally to them, you can see two nerves. One, both is by the way from sacral plexus. One small one, it is sensory nerve, which I mentioned today for you. Nervus cutaneus femoralis posterior. As you remember, it gives the inferior columnial branch, which is innervating the skin in the gluteal region. Second nerve, it is the biggest nerve of the human body. We call it nervus ischiaticus, again from the sacral plexus. What you should know about. From infrapiriformis aperture, it is become to loose connective tissue. Then it is descended to down. In the level of gluteal fold, it has the most superficial position. It's located just under the proper fascia. Then it is continuous to down to the posterior femoral region. Here it is located between two groups of the muscles. Laterally it is the biceps femoris. Medially it is semitendinosus membranosus. Here there are so-called posterior femoral groove. That's it's located inside of posterior groove. Much more protected than in the case of the gluteal fold. And finally, near the upper angle of fossa popliteal, as you remember from anatomy, it is split into two terminal branches, nervus tibialis and nervus peroneus communis. Peroneus communis divided into the peroneus superficialis and profundus, and together they supply all lower extremity below the region of the knee. And anterior and posterior, yeah, peroneus comes anteriorly, tibialis located posteriorly. And they make innervation. Sorry. You must know projections of these mentioned structures. So for that, you draw this ABC triangle. A, it is posteriorly superior iliac spine, which you see here. B, it is the tuberositas ischia. And C, it is trochanter minor. Once again, posterior superior iliac spine, ischadic tuberositas, and the trochanter minor. Now, in the lines of this triangle, in the margins of this triangle, we make projection of the neurovascular bundles. Line AC, you split it into three parts. In the border between upper and middle thirds, we projected superior gluteal neurovascular bundle. Otherwise, we can say suprapiriformis aperture. In the midpoint of the line AB, we projected infrapiriformis aperture and inferior gluteal neurovascular bundle. In the midpoint of the line BC, we projected nervus ischiaticus. Otherwise, you can say it is projected in the midpoint of the gluteal fold. Or triangle BC line, which I show for you. Now, second region, right, please, it is subinguinal region. I will see. Subinguinal region. First of all, guys, let's put the normal position for this pelvis. Pubic symphysis will look to down, sacral bone because of the formation of the kyphos here, yeah, lordosis kyphos, which is located upwards. It is located little bit upward. That's in that position now I put my pen in the place of the inguinal ligament. And you can see that behind of it and below it, not only behind but below it, there are the space. Space which is called subinguinal space. Space which in real case is transitory space between the abdominal region and between the lower extremity, but we include it in the lower extremity region. Borders of it, again I put it, you can see from up and from in front it is inguinal ligament. From back and from below, it is the pelvic bones. Which bones? It is superior branch of the pubic bone. It is eminentia iliopectinea, place of the junction between the pubic bone and the iliac bone, and the brink of the iliac bone. That's three structures, bony structures you can see here. Laterally, it is the place of attachment between inguinal ligament and between anterior superior iliac spine. That is the place where our ligament is originating. Inferiorly, guys, you remember this ligament split it into two legs, yeah? Lateral one attached to the pubic tuberculum and medial one attached to the pubic symphysis. And between lateral leg and between pubic bone, the ligament is originated, which we call the Gimbernat's ligament. Otherwise, we call it ligamentum lacunare. You can see this ligament in the picture. Let's say this is the medial border of our space. Once again, in front ligament, behind the bone. Laterally, the junction of between these two structures. Medially, it is the lacunar ligament. What is the content of the space, and the importance of this space? Now, from the pelvis to the lower extremity, muscle is passed, which is causing iliopsoas. You know, it is connection between iliac muscle and between the psoas muscle. And iliopsoas muscle covered by fascia. It is the parietal layer of the pelvic fissure, yeah, which we call fascia iliaca. In my previous lesson, I told you that endoabdominal fissure inside of the pelvis split it into the parietal layer, into the visceral layer. Parietal cover the muscles and the bones, visceral cover the organs, and they conform the loose connective tissue species. Now, this muscle continues to the lower extremity. After you will see it in the femoral region. This is one of from two muscles. Second one is musculus pectineus, which is together forms the femoral triangle, floor of the femoral triangle. Let's say iliopsoas located laterally, pectineus located medially. They covered by proper fissure, and they form interfacial space because femoral triangle, it is upper third of the interfacial space. In cross section, it has such kind of the picture. If it is interfacial space, by Pirogov rule, it should contain the main neurovascular bundle. You can see it inside of it. This is the femoral neurovascular bundle. Why in the medial? Because it is protected surface. We say that in extremities, big vessels and nerves located in medial interfacial space. But interfacial spaces we have only in part of extremity with single bone. In part of extremity with more than one bone, we have osteofacial compartment. Osteofacial compartment we have on the single bones region also. But there are also interfacial spaces. So remember about it, and once again look in the picture, please. Let's say in the lateral portion of our subinguinal space, we have iliopsoas muscle. What is happened by the fascia of it, which we call, by the way, fascia iliaca? Inferiorly, it is fused with the eminentia iliopectinea. Superiorly, it is fused with the inguinal ligament, and it forms the arch, which we call arcus iliopectineus. This arch divided all subinguinal space into two compartments. Laterally the muscular, medially the vascular. We call it lacuna musculorum and lacuna vasorum. And between them we have the arcus iliopectineus. But fascia doesn't finish here. Then it is continues to the medially. It is covered the upper branch of the pubic bone and fused with the periosteum of it. And together they form the ligament, which we call ligamentum pectineum. one new ligament. Idea is understandable for you. That's why once again remember please the proper fascia, fasta iliaca, make the junction between between posterior borders of the space and split the space into two apertures. Now let's describe content. Lacuna muscular, musculus iliopsosa, and two nerves. One is non-draw, located laterally. Second is draw, located medially. The medial nerve it is the biggest branch of the lumbar plexus. We call it nervus femoralis. Then it will go to down, and in the femoral region, minutes before I show, it will become to femoral triangle together with the femoral vessels and will form the femoral neurovascular bundle. By the way, in same triangle it will be finished by division into the terminal branches. You can see how many branches it gives. And the longest branch, which is descending down together with femoral vessels, we call nervus saphenous. But there are one more nerve, which is invisible here, which is located laterally. We call it nervus cutaneus femoralis lateralis. Again, from lumbar plexus. Look, anterior structures have origin from lumbar plexus. And it is innervating the lateral surface of your femoral region, up to the knee region. Now we come to the medial compartment. In the medial compartment, you can see primary vessels and some nerves also. That's why we call it lacuna vasorum. More laterally, you can see the femoral artery, which is continuation of external iliac. By the way, border between them, it is midpoint of the upper margin of the inguinal ligament. Above it, we call it external iliac. Below, behind of the inguinal ligament, we call it femoralis. Little bit medially to it, you can see femoral vein. Everything is same, but now upwards, it is continuous to the external iliac vein, which is joined with internal iliac, and together they form common iliac, right and left common connected to each other, and they form the inferior caval vein, the biggest vein of the human body. There are also nerves between them, which you know very well. This is so-called ramus femoralis, nervi genitofemoralis. Previously, we speak about ramus genitalis, nervi genitofemoralis, again from lumbar plexus, by the way. For the males, it is in spermatic, for the females, it is in inguinal region. But in Langenbeck space, this genitofemoral nerve split it into two branches. Genital by internal ring of inguinal canal enter inside of the canal. Femoral descended below the inguinal ligament and become to the subinguinal space and continues after to the femoral region. This is one from three nerves, together with two other nerves, which you know again very well. Ilioinguinalis, iliohypogastric, which is innervated skin in the upper medial surface. That's an upper medial surface of the femoral region. It is receptorly rich region of human body. Huge amount of nerves, three nerves. Near the genital organ, near the inguinal folds, here there are huge amount of the receptors. Very well, but that's not enough. If you will look attentively in this space, you will see some aperture. By the way, in real case, it is not aperture. This is the place with loose connective tissue and lymphatics. Just they empty in the picture, they don't draw in the picture. Lymphatics belong to deep lymphatic of inguinal region, and biggest one we call the Rosa-Müller-Piragovs, or signaling lymphatic node. Any inflammation, any cancer, touch with primary pass metastasing into it, that's why we call it signaling. You can locate it, it's simply near the medial part of the inguinal ligament. But anyhow, what is this aperture? Can you give me one paper? Used or not used, small, I don't need, no, friend, it's very big. It's, thank you. Can I cut it? You don't need your notes. Yeah, your notes is just rubbish. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. But you are very honest. You are an honest person. I don't know what is the reason of your so honest attention to me. Next time, don't be so open, friend. Because when you say that your knowledge is rubbish, it is not so good. Okay, let's continue. What is this aperture, which you see here? Remember forever, this is the deep vein of new canal, which you don't know till now. This is the femoral canal. Before we study about inguinal canal, but now you listen about one more canal, which we call femoral canal. And this is deep ring of it. By the way, this picture is not in normal anatomical position. It is little bit lifted to upwards. You will descend it to down. In that case, this ring will be not in the frontal plane, but it will be in horizontal plane. Because your subinguinal region mainly, why subinguinal? Because it is behind the inguinal ligament, not so much below. That's why this aperture will be mainly in horizontal plane, not in the vertical plane like you see. Let's modulate. First of all, let's make the flow in this paper, and let's color it. It will be our inguinal ligament. Yeah, thank you very much. Now, in the medial portion of it, I will cut the paper by my pen, and we will modulate it, this debris. Can you give me blue or red color pens? And blue ones, because nice. It is blue. Do you have red? Thank you very much. Only red. By blue color, medially, I will mention the gibber, not medial, because it's located medially to my aperture. Yeah? Medially to aperture, I will draw one more blue ring. It will be femoral vein. And laterally to the blue ring, I will draw the red ring. It will be our femoral arch. Now, if I will put it in that position, yeah, it will modulate it our subinguinal space, which is located mainly behind and little bit below to the inguinal ligament. It has form of such kind of protrusion to downwards, yeah? And what will be below my inguinal ligament? Of course, the femoral ridge.